Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world of TV. Carlos tonight. Carlos tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos tonight. Carlos tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Hey everyone, welcome to Carlos Tonight. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. I really appreciate that. Don't forget that you can check out the podcast at carlostonight.com. And I'm very excited to introduce you to my guest this week. If you're struggling with weight loss or if you're wanting to gain muscle, then stick around because this episode is for you. Angel Serrata runs Uplift Fitness, an online coaching company that inspires people who want to take a hold of their life and obtain the results that they deserve. He is known as Coach Angel. Coach Angel, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. How are you?
Sweet. I'm doing great. So excited to be here. Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. I appreciate the intro.
No problem. Now, Coach, you and I are from Texas. Tell me, how are you? Like, is it as bad down there as it is up here? Because you're in Austin.
Yeah, so I live in Austin. I've been here for about 5 years now. Currently, the weather isn't so great. So it's a bit chilly. Not used to, not if anyone who's in Texas, we know that we're not used to this cold weather. But yeah, it's been good. I'm from South Texas, but then I ended up moving to Austin.
Oh, cool. And then I'm broadcasting from Dallas right now. So we're experiencing icy roads and whatnot. And I bet it's difficult for people to travel to the gym because of the roads. I'm sure there's a lot of things that they can do at home to exercise. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is fitness. First and foremost, tell me a little bit about how you got started in the fitness industry and coaching folks online.
Yeah, so I I started working out when I was in college. So my
Hmm.
freshman year of college, started working out. Wasn't feeling comfortable with myself. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, man, I need to make a change. So I started lifting the weights, and since then, I really enjoyed the process of just being able to focus on myself and finally having something to work towards. Because I feel like I never really had any sort of ambitions growing up. I wasn't really good at sports. My grades weren't always the best, but whenever it came to fitness, it was all my efforts, right? So that's kind of where I fell in the relationship with when it came to fitness and being able to just change my body, but not just change my body, but also change my mentality as well through the process. And when it came to doing online coaching, so that kind of happened when COVID occurred. So I was working as a manager at a Gold's Gym and I was also bartending. And my schedule was so packed. And then all of a sudden I had lost both my jobs. So I ended up just making workout videos for people on Instagram. I was just trying to keep everyone motivated. I saw how a lot of people were struggling, and I started to push out a lot of Instagram workout videos. And then the idea finally came into, oh, maybe I should do online coaching, right? So I ended up graduating from college right after COVID as well. Right after COVID as well, with a bachelor's in general studies, which was a minor in business administration, coaching, and psychology, and didn't even use my degree. I ended up getting like a job as a manager, and then I ended up just taking on that role for myself. Trial and error, kind of making the game plan, and then eventually in April of 2021, I kind of hit this plateau of with my business, and I ended up hiring a business mentor. And since then, that's kind of like when uh, the transformation of online coaching started to build for me. And the thing when it comes to my online coaching, it's not just any online coaching space; it's a coaching space for gay men. All right, so that's something that I wanted to put more time and effort in, just because I grew up in the bar scene and seeing the toxicity that was in there, like people kind of not appreciating themselves for who they were, and I wanted to kind of break that stigma. So that's what I'm here for.
What is it about gay men that you wanted to focus on the most?
Yeah, when it came to focusing on gay men, I've had over 100 people join my community now, and something that I always see is not feeling like they value themselves for who they are, and we tend to gravitate towards, that fast gratification, right? For me, for example, it was a story of it was hard for me to come out of the closet, and it was hard for me to be accepting of myself. So I never believed in myself so much. I feel like it was taking care less of my body. Like if I take care of myself, if I can even accept myself for who I was. And then later on, I realized that all those things that I had built up weren't true. So basically, what led me to lean more into coaching gay men was just because I feel like I resonate with them more. I feel like I want to be that compassionate person that they might be. I never had like that role model growing up, right? So when it came to coaching gay men, it's just being able to let them know, like, hey, like we'll experience setbacks, but it's all about being able to fight for that better you. So it's kind of what led me more, being able to just bring a different environment towards the fitness scene because going to the gym was super intimidating for me. Whenever I wanted to coach personally, I really didn't know like who to approach, right? Because it was like, oh man, like are they going to treat me the same as someone who's, you know, uh, straight, right, versus like someone who might be gay. So that's something that I definitely wanted to create a new atmosphere, right, one where everyone could be authentically themselves without feeling like they all have to be on the edge.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like no matter who you are, it's always difficult to, go into a gym and kind of figure out what to do. I know back in the day, I used to go to the gym and then I would do the treadmill for, I don't know, a good 5 or 10 minutes, not even sweating. And then I would call it a day, like, oh, I worked out. And then I would eat whatever I wanted. And then I would never see the results that I always wanted until I met this young guy who was like, "Here, I'll show you how to work out." And so he took me under his wing, and we lifted 6 days out of the week with his friends, and then I saw a huge change. Tell me a little bit about how you help people focus and kind of because when you go to the gym, you're always thinking like everyone's looking at me, but in reality, they're not because they're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So this is like a main component that I focus on when it comes to my program. So it's called the self-discovery phase. So before anyone joins on, they fill out this form that asks you like, what is your why? Why do you want to go on this challenge? What are some habits that you want to break? What has been holding you back when it comes to mentally? Because I think that's the thing we forget, right? We want to just follow like a nutrition plan, workout routine, but we have to make sure that our mentality is aligned. Something that we're going to be struggling with is like the negative self-talk, right? The body dysmorphia, beating ourselves up. So it's being able to really kind of define what those thoughts are or those setbacks might be. So when we start focusing on ourselves or we start entering the gym, we have that constant reminder that we aren't those thoughts, right? And it's like actually being able to create a new experience for yourself because the only experience that we know is the one that we've been doing over and over and over again. So the more that we do something, the easier it's going to become. So it's being able to kind of face those challenges in the gym and understanding that it's not about paying attention to what's in here, but paying attention to more what's in here, right?
Mhm.
Because this is going to be the driving factor in here. And, it's hard to create like these scenarios in our mind that aren't really true. And we feel like everyone's looking at us. And for the most part, everyone feels that way in the gym. I still feel that way sometimes in the gym. So something that has really helped my clients is just having that community support because one client will message like, oh man, like I don't feel that motivated to go today. Like I feel like everyone's looking at me. And then all my other clients would be like, boom, 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 boom with like the messages. So for sure, having that community support and then also just having like a game plan for yourself because I feel like when we go to the gym and we don't know what workouts to do or what machines to do, we start to kind of, our mind will start to go towards those thoughts, right? But instead we have a game plan. It's like you're in there with purpose. You're in the gym with intention. So it kind of alleviates the stress or those thoughts that we might have.
When I go to the gym, I tend to, if I don't have a plan like what you talked about, I go
Yeah.
immediately to like cardio, like treadmill or the bike, because it's more comfortable and I know it. And
Uh-huh.
in a way, it's like I would say like hidden away from people because I feel like I'm not being looked at.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a plan, that's my go-to. But like you said, have a plan. Speaking of clients, you have a lot of success stories. One guy lost 44 pounds in like 18 weeks. You posted, and and this is amazing. A guy who was like 44 years old that you posted recently, he lost what 60 pounds was it? That's amazing. And how do you help your clients stay focused? Because I'm sure, like you said, there's alcohol, there's going out, there's the pressure of being seen or being out with your friends, or feeling like obligated to go out, but you really need to go to the gym type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it really is outlining the why, right? Why are we doing this? Because something that I do really well is really paint the two realities here, and it's like the reality of between do the same thing over and over again. We're going to be 6 months to a year from now, and then what's going to be the second reality of actually following a plan, putting yourself first, investing time into yourself. What's that reality going to look like? And the more they're able to paint that picture of the new reality, the more that we're able to stay more driven and stay more focused because now we know where we want to go. And that's like the missing piece sometimes. We don't know where we want to go. Sometimes we're kind of going day in and day out, not really knowing like what the direction is going to be with our goals. So it's definitely having those wins. I'm all about wins. So every time that my clients hit a PR, every time they hit a new low, every time they see progress or they want to celebrate themselves. Like I want my clients to not feel proud that we're in their goal, but every freaking step of the way, just because that's going to help them start building a better relationship with their fitness and something that they're always going to look forward to. Second, the way that we see fitness as something we see fitness as a place to torture ourselves, as a place to starve ourselves. So I'm here to help the fitness be a place where it's fun, it's enjoyable, something that you go to the gym to disconnect. You go to the gym to recharge. You eat to nourish your body versus constantly having like that negative stigma that we might have experienced. And then just lastly, right, keeping them accountable. So every Thursday's check-in day, so they get a form, choose the questions. How's the workout plan? How's the nutrition plan? How's the warm take? Struggling with that and I give them the breakdown, and then just being able to check in with them. Day in and day out. So I have this app that I use. So that's kind of like where we do like two-way communication. And then I also have two Zoom calls with our clients every week. So Wednesdays is a more knowledge-based call, and then Sundays a team check-in call. So there's always going to be this checkpoint, right? Every single week. That way they know like what direction they might need to go to if needed. But they always have that space where they can come and socialize and ask any questions versus a place where they're kind of doing this at it alone. So that's definitely something that's helped my clients for sure. Just be able to create that that new boundary for themselves, right? We set boundaries as well. So,
Yeah, I think that accountability is so important in your fitness journey, like you were talking about. As a former online fitness coach client, it was important for me to have that connection with the coach and make sure that, we're checking in, and there was an opportunity for me to ask questions like, "Hey, I'm not really comfortable with this machine. Is there an alternative?" Or he also motivated me because sometimes I lack motivation, just like everybody else. Um, how do you keep clients motivated? How do you keep them going, waking up, and going to the gym?
yeah, so motivation will come and go, right? So something I always tell my clients is like we have to be able to develop the discipline from the very start. So there'll be moments where my clients don't want to go to the gym, and we'll have that one-on-one conversation, and they'll sit in the car, kind of contemplating, should I go in, should I go out? And once they're able to go in and face that challenge, they realize that they're able to put that into perspective every single time it might come. So every single time that they might not feel motivated, they've known that they've been able to tackle that in the past.
Mm.
So it just starts to become more of a feeling, right? It starts to become more of a habit. So what felt hard at the very beginning starts to become a little bit more easier just because now it starts to become a habit. But when it comes to the motivation as well, is just being able to take the time to have that morning routine, right? What's the intention for the day? What's like the attitude towards like the workouts as well? So I think that's going to be like the main thing when it comes to that motivation. sending them like a voice note, like, yo, like you got this. You gotta make sure you're getting your workout in. Like you've already crushed harder workouts this week. Like you need one more. Things like that. So just like a lot of encouragement and just letting them feel heard and having them a space where they could just kind of communicate about anything. Because I feel like the hardest thing to communicate is when we might be having a setback,
Mm-hmm.
because the last thing that we want to do is maybe let down a coach. But that's what the coach is here for, right? The coach is here to help coach you through any single step you might, any single step setback you might have. And I feel like that definitely helps them feel more motivated and encouraged, knowing that I'm not here to like beat them up, but I'm here to really listen and see where I can give them that direction that they might need.
Mm-hmm. Tell me how does it feel seeing progress in your clients, like the gentleman who lost more than 20 pounds? What's that like
Yeah,
for a coach?
yeah, it's freaking amazing just being able to see someone. It's like someone comes into a call and they want some help, and we kind of talk, and it's like super quiet, super shy, super timid, and then all of a sudden, week by week, right, you see them start to like blow up, and I'm like, okay, who's this person right here? And then just like finally seeing this person just talk about their story and how they've been able to inspire other people around them, definitely is unreal. I think it's something that I never saw myself ever doing. I would always see other people doing it, but I never saw myself having the potential to be able to see other people basically like change their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely is moving. And I feel like that's it's freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome, honestly.
That's cool.
It's freaking awesome because I used to be a person that liked to party out on the weekends, like to do drugs, all that stuff. And there came a point where I realized that I was affecting the people around me in a negative way. And once I dived into online coaching, I realized that my purpose was to kind of like remake the ripple effect that I was creating. I was creating a negative ripple effect. So I feel like now my purpose is to create a positive ripple effect. And the more that I'm able to focus on changing one life, the more that I'm able to focus on changing somebody else's life. Because I always get messages from my clients saying like, oh, like I got a message from one of my family members that I'm looking good, that they're going to the gym now, from one of my friends that now I'm working out again. So no, it's been really, really great. And that's pretty much all I can say. So
It's good that you turn your life around and then you're paying it forward and helping people during their journey. And I remember when you were just talking about how people notice your weight loss or your muscle gain or whatever. When I was at the gym, when I was starting out, I had that mentality of everyone's looking at me. But once I started seeing the progress, that kind of motivated myself, and I kept going to the point where like the biggest, hugest dude at the gym complimented me and said, "Hey, your arms are getting bigger," or whatever it was. And I just was like, I want to say I was in heaven, but I was like, "Holy crap!" I got noticed. But is
yeah,
that? I guess that's the feeling, right? Because everyone
yeah,
gets that.
yeah. And you know what? Like we work so hard for that comment sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's like comment comes and it's like, oh no, like I'm okay, right? It's like no, we got to make sure we take that comment. It's like yes, I've been freaking putting in the work, right? So
So
yeah, that's pretty.
So how did you in the beginning you mentioned that you were a bartender and then you were working and doing all this stuff. How does if somebody lives that lifestyle of like for example me where I work my 40 hours and then I do other things, when exactly is there a perfect time to go to the gym? Like in the morning, fit it in at lunch, or do it at the end of the day, or
Yeah, I feel like it definitely comes off to preference and kind of really laying out your day and not feeling like you spend, 2 hours in the gym, but maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, an hour,
Mhm.
just something to kind of get you started. That's like going to be the goal, because the goal for anyone who might be struggling with a fitness journey is to build consistency, right? And the best way to build consistency is going at your own pace. Because sometimes you want to set the expectation so high, you want to work out 5 days out the week, maybe 7 days out the week, but maybe we're not there yet. Maybe 3 days is a great ideal time to start off in, just to get you, started. So if you're someone who's working a full-time schedule, it's really using your weekends to help propel you for success. So whether you go grocery shopping, meal prepping, setting some goals for yourself, that we have some sort of direction coming to the Monday. And then if you're working 40 hours a week, is making sure you're going to bed on time, right? Making sure you're waking up on time, being able to start putting in the habits that you need to make sure you're able to utilize the day towards your advantage, and making sure we're in control of the day versus the day controlling us, right? So sometimes we have like those missing pieces that we need to maybe dial in on, and maybe dial in is where we can finally get that gym time and get better preparation with our nutrition, right?
Were you ever a big kid?
Was I ever what?
Were you ever a big kid, like
Big
overweight?
kid? Yeah, I was a big kid.
What was the feeling like when you started to hit the gym and then you started seeing that your pants were like looser and you were fitting better in your shirts and whatnot?
Yeah. So I was around 150, 160, and I was around 7 or 8, 9. And I didn't really feel self cautious until I got into middle school. That's kind of when I started to notice that. And I was such an emotional kid. I had a kind of tough upbringing, and I would lean towards food for comfort. And then once I got into high school, before I entered into high school, I realized that I wanted to make a change for myself. So I started doing a lot of P90X or HIIT workouts, and I started to see like my first glimpse of progress. And I was like, oh shoot, like I I can't believe like I'm starting to shred this weight. But the biggest experience for me was, yes, I really enjoyed like dropping that weight, and it was a big accomplishment. But for some reason, I still wasn't satisfied. So that was definitely like something that I took on at a young age, just like not being satisfied with my body, constantly wanting to improve, constantly wanting to improve, and I felt like I never learned how to love myself. If anything, I learned to beat myself up more, and then once I reached, you know, high college, and then I started to finally build that new relationship with myself. So it was definitely like a great experience, shedding the weight, but I definitely was not satisfied. So I honestly, the biggest motivation for me as a kid was also having like family members tell me like, oh, like looks like you're gaining some weight. This basketball based on like, it's like it looks like you're gaining some weight. So that was definitely a big motivator, and it was just great to just be able to prove that to myself as well.
In the gay culture, when your friends invite you out, um, it's difficult for people to say no, right?
Yeah,
What advice do you give out there for people who struggle with saying no and
yeah,
who maybe go to the bar and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna drink water, and then everyone buys you shots and all this stuff, and then you're screwed.
yeah. Guys, like this used to be me all the time, and it was tough just because you start to become super aware that you want to focus on yourself, and something that you gotta understand is like only you walk in your own shoes every single day, and only you know how you feel every single day. Nobody else does, right? Nobody else knows what goals you want to focus on. So it's being able to really separate yourself from everybody else, actually acknowledge like, oh man, like I have goals for myself. Like there's something that I want to focus on me, and being able to think more into that feeling versus the feeling of the weekend, because the weekend's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. We've done it over and over and over again that we know what the experience is going to be like. So most likely you're not missing out on anything, because the way that I put it is, if you're constantly going on the weekend, something that you might be missing out on is yourself, right? So it's like, what do you want to miss out on? Do you want to miss out on going out with friends and kind of doing the same thing, or do you want to miss out on putting yourself first? So it's kind of like seeing what those two mean to you. And then when it comes to saying no, like sometimes you got to leave some group chats, guys. Sometimes you got to put your phone on do not disturb at 12 a.m. Yeah, messages. Sometimes you can't go on Instagram and look at your other friends' stories for a bit, just because something that I experienced a lot was FOMO, and the best thing that I needed to do was just be able to pull myself out of a situation, because sometimes we set goals for ourselves. It's like, I'm only gonna have 2 drinks this weekend, and we've been drinking over and over and over again, that we haven't really built the discipline or the mentality strength to lean on towards that habit. So you have to give yourself the chance to build that bandwidth, that mental strength to really focus on diving into yourself first versus kind of going back into the habit, right? It's like separating the wants and the needs. What is that we want, right? What is that our body wants, right? Or what is it that our body needs? And sometimes we lean so more into the wants, right? The desires of the temporary moment. What is it that we need in the moment, right? Being able to put yourself in a room without anybody else around and kind of ask yourself the question, what does Angel need today, right? What does Carlos need today? And I feel like the more that we're able to answer that question, the easier it's going to be for us to go into the goal that we want to have.
Awesome. So you're a buff guy. Did you lose any friends while you were working on yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't say I don't want to say I've maybe lost a couple of friends, but the thing is that the amount of time that I would spend with friends started to decrease. The friends that I had the last couple of friends, and it's just being able to be okay with that, because I feel like whenever we're in a circle for so long, we tend to kind of mingle ourselves into other people's personalities and other people's identities. So it's being able to kind of acknowledge like it's okay to outgrow people, right? If you feel like you're not happy, if you were to, this is what my therapist told me the other day, like if you put yourself in a situation, you're having a conversation, you kind of zoom yourself out from another lens, and you don't find, you're having like the best time. It's like most likely you shouldn't be spending time there. You might be spending some time somewhere else. So yeah, I mean, I definitely have lost a couple of friends, but my purpose is greater now. Like I dive in all my time into my business and being able to help others. So if a friend ever reaches out to me, yo, I got your back. Okay, like my friend ever, because I want to be like the best version I can. So if my friend ever wants to ask me any questions about I'm struggling with drinking or I'm struggling with my fitness journey, like I want to be able to be that person for them if they need me, right?
So on social media, I enjoy that you have live sessions mostly every day. On Instagram, you have more than 22.4 thousand followers, and on TikTok, you have more than 13.5 thousand followers, which is where I found you on TikTok, because that's where I live. I really enjoy your content and all your hard work that you're doing on there. If somebody has a question, if somebody wants to sign up with you, tell us where do they find you and how do they do all that?
Yeah, so you can find me at Angel Flex Fit. So Instagram, IG, Facebook is Angel Serrata. And then there is going to be a link under my Instagram or on TikTok. You click that link, fill out the application, and you're able to get more information on coaching. And the thing about my coaching is that I like to get to know everyone. So you're definitely going to expect a one-on-one DM, and we'll be having a conversation, and we'll dive in deeper into your goals. But yeah, so that's where you could definitely find me.
How long before they click and fill out the form did you contact them?
Yeah, so you could expect a message anywhere from 3 to 4 days, business days. So anywhere from 36 to 72 hours. As of right now, I am opening some slots. So January was definitely a place where I had to kind of slow down, close my coaching program, but now we're kind of getting back open for February.
Right. Awesome, Coach. Thanks so much. I appreciate all your advice and all the tips that you shared with us today. Anyone interested in learning more about what you offer, I'll put that in the show notes so people will know. Coach Angel, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you. God bless you. Good luck with your business.
So thank you so much. It was great having me on your podcast. Hopefully we can do this again. It was
Absolutely.
so much fun.
And that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for watching and for listening to this episode of Carlos Tonight. It was written and produced by yours truly, Carlos Correa. My theme by Sken, Galis. Remember, you can visit the website, carlostonight.com, for the very latest on the show, see upcoming guests, and check out past episodes. It's carlostonight.com.
Dale que viene lo bueno.